Thank you for tuning in to Shared Hope International's Invading the Darkness, an anti-sex trafficking podcast. We want to acknowledge that the content we discuss can be emotionally challenging and may evoke strong reactions. The stories we share often involve tough subjects related to suffering caused by sex trafficking, which may be difficult for some listeners to hear. Listener discretion is advised.
I was arrested for the first time at 37. I had never been arrested. I had lived this kind of double life, okay, then not okay. So the last time I was arrested, the police that arrested me were kind to me. They had told me I didn't belong out there. I knew it was going to be cold where they were taking me, and they allowed me to get a jacket. And they covered up the handcuffs when they took me to jail. And I'd seen this little flyer at Estrella Jail. Dignity for women wanting to leave prostitution and substance abuse. It was a program behind the fence at Estrella Jail that Kathleen Mitchell, the founder of Dignity, had developed when she was on a bunk in that same jail system. She went to court with me. I had a lot of wreckage, warrants and things, and she went to every one of my court hearings and kept telling the judge, give her to me. There's something there. She's got some kind of secret, and I see she hasn't been given probation. She hasn't been given a real chance. And the judge, and I remember her name, agreed. And I was sentenced to Dignity House. That was the program that Kathleen Mitchell founded. And it was Dignity programs. They had a jail program, the housing program, and an outreach program at that time. And I went there on August 25th, 2 days before my 41st birthday, and I felt like I had come home. There was only 5 beds. I felt safe, and I stayed. And I've never gone back out to the streets. I've never had to live that life ever again, because she saw in me what I wouldn't share with anybody else. And she's the first person I ever told what happened to me at 15. I call it divine intervention. Like the stars aligned. The cops were nice to me. The judge was really proactive, kind of listened. It was a female judge. And then with Kathleen, and then, of course, I was introduced to Benita right away and others. And, I stayed there for 1 year and 4 months. And Kathy, my friend, cohort sister, she and I, and so now we're going to jump ahead. 2001, the city approved a diversion program for women involved in prostitution and substance abuse, and they had made some laws on mandatory sentencing. So we were interviewed to be the intake specialists. We didn't think we got the job. We didn't get the call on Thursday at 6 like they promised. It came in at 9 at night, and they gave us both the positions. From there, I was the person that wanted to go back to school. I had something that a lot of women that I work with don't have, and that's that social foundation in a middle-class upbringing from 0 to 13, 14 years old. So I had some skills to build on, and the importance of education. And Kathleen didn't let me go too fast, but didn't let me go too slow. She knew when to rein me in or whatever, because I was going to, cure AIDS, get rid of prostitution, do everything in a year. I thought I could do it. So anyway, that's really, it was the right person at the right time that saw in me, that 15-year-old little scared girl, while the men were on top of me. I counted 5. After that, I don't remember. I remember waking up in the garage. Everything on me hurt. My underwear pulled to the off one leg. And I remember the guy that rescued me there and got me out of there. And he said he'd never say anything, and he didn't. And I never told anybody until I told it to Kathleen at 41. I think we need to remember that there should be a series of interventions prior to arrest and incarceration. Yeah, it's ugly. You're waiting for arraignment. You're dirty. You're cold. It is really demeaning. But for someone like me, as a 40 going on 41-year-old, I was so beat down and tired that jail was a safe place. I didn't have to hustle to get a hotel room. I didn't have to hustle to try to find an abandoned house to sleep in. So for juveniles, there's got to be the whole multi-disciplinary wraparound services, interventions, and there has to be consequences because they're not going to get out without consequences. And I don't mean incarceration. I mean consequences, accountability, holding them close, similar to like how Kathleen and Vanita built their programs, which were phased programs. Phase 1, this is what you do. Phase 2, this is what you do. Phase 3, and you get more and more opportunities. But you asked about going to jail. When I worked with all of the kids, because for 16 years I built those programs for called Adelante Jovencitas, Young Women Moving Forward, through Girl Scouts, Arizona Cactus Pine Council, and I worked with trafficked girls, but they were usually incarcerated for something else. It was drugs, it was gang, it was other behavior that they wouldn't put boys in jail for, running away, incorrigibility. But they were tough. And I just saw so much promise in them. How do we get kids into services that will help them when they don't even know what they're doing is that bad? Because it's better than what they have at home. So there's all that wrapped up in it. Just in the last year, Arizona didn't have the expungement or sealing of records. I was one of the first to have that done. My records are sealed. But again, I was an adult coming in to it. But we do have the pro bono attorneys. Now we have people that have started to change that law. And we do have the strength court, And so what I'm trying to do for adults is to figure out how do we do a phased approach for 18 year, because my demographic now is so young. It's 18 to 24-year-olds is 50% of the girls that I see. They're kids. When the program was built, it was really designed for low bottom, late stage street prostitution and substance abuse. It was phenomenal. It worked really well. Now with the shift over the last 5 years, getting younger, and now I believe that I have a responsibility to figure out another way to do this. A pre-arrest kind of diversion where they get an opportunity to not have the charges filed or anything, but they still have accountability to come to diversion. Then, if they don't do that, they get another opportunity. Third strike, well, we're going to file the arrest and you'll get diversion. Because we know it takes 3 to 7 times of an intervention for us to shift our brains, and I say our as a survivor champion, our brains to really say no more. we've done that and it's showing up. I've got girls leaving their PIBs, calling from all over the place. Thank you for holding us accountable. Nobody else did. That one piece of how do we stop the first touch being incarceration or diversion. And we can try, let's pilot some things. Let's look at some different interventions. Let's get open-minded. We've done the same thing for adult women, 18 and over, for 25 years. Now what's next? One of the reasons I went back to working for the Catholic Charities Dignity programs is I worked with teens basically in juvenile detention and group homes, foster care for 16 years. So I know now what these young kids, so I'm building a younger staff. I'm bringing in you have to be really mindful about what your team looks like. Does it reflect the demographic that you're working with? Mine does now. It didn't before. It was, and I'm going to say it, little white lady, was but yes, lived experience. But that's not going to translate to a young black girl who hasn't even had a family growing up. She's been bounced here, there. She needs somebody to identify with. So I want to make sure I have that person in a seat for her to connect with. It's lived experience is the first touch in. Then we can bring in the social workers and everybody else. But that initial really getting them to open up, I believe that's where all the survivors that want to start nonprofits know they should collectively build together something that's really unique and cool that brings people out. And it's all fragmented. And I'd like to see some best practices and other things come into place. One size doesn't fit all. Yes, we need different interventions, but I'd like to see some diversity in those interventions and real diversity in our program models. It's a multifaceted issue. We can't just get the men and hold the men accountable. We can't just really put your energy into all of the women. We've got to do something like we're trying with the Arizona Anti-Trafficking Network and do an umbrella of programs that hits the issue at every point. And it's got to come state to state in order to kind of be able to work within the laws of each state. But it's multi-pronged approaches with the right people at the table. And I think that's one thing. And that also recovery from this stuff is a lifelong journey. You don't just get out and in 24 months it's done. So we need to have like aftercare and fun things for survivors to do and get involved with. So I would like to see some statewide, collaboratives with survivors, which we're trying to build here right now. But yeah, one size doesn't fit all. That's the main thing, I think, that what worked for me may not work for her, but I know something that might. And so being really savvy with how you allocate and look for resources for each client. And also address that a program also needs to have the opportunity for somebody to get therapy if they want it. They might not want it for 2-3 years, but when they're ready, have it there. When you're done, you know where to come. Come and be with people that have been there, done that, want the best for you. Stick with the winners, open doors, and then once we've done that, all the other wraparounds can come in. So I think lived experience and then the other services in the wraparound. I really think that's a good way to to develop.
Barb's story really highlights the importance of understanding that not all survivors disclose their trauma at once. True statement right there.
Mm-hmm.
Barb didn't even share what happened to her as a minor until decades of exploitation and trauma in her adulthood. This is crucial for service providers to understand because many survivors, they will not open up right away. And that doesn't mean that they aren't in need of support.
Exactly, Yvonne. As survivors, it's important for us to be patient with the healing process. We've seen firsthand that it takes the right person at the right time to really understand and support a survivor. In Barb's case, it was the kindness of a police officer and dedicated work of a resource like Dignity House that ultimately provided a safe space. That safe environment allowed her to begin her healing journey.
Absolutely. And that's why community-based resources and responses like those shared in the 2025 Roadmap Report are such a crucial next step in anti-trafficking reforms. These responses focus on connecting youth with comprehensive services, reducing vulnerabilities, and interrupting entry points into the justice system. This can help prevent juvenile victims from getting caught in the criminal justice system in the first place.
Right, Yvonne. It's about shifting the focus from just penalizing victims to providing real support. Barb's journey shows the power of community-based services. She went from being arrested at 37 to being placed in Dignity House, a place where she finally felt safe. That wasn't just a place of housing. It was a place where she got to experience healing and dignity for the first time in her life. As Barb shared, it wasn't until she found that safe place and the right people around her that she was able to start fully opening up and start her healing process.
And that's what we want for all survivors, dignity and healing. But for those who have been through trauma like Barb, it's not just about providing a safe space. It's also about changing how we view and treat survivors within the criminal justice system. Even though at Shared Hope, we don't want to see any victim enter the criminal justice system, we are grateful for Barb's story and how she experienced healing through a resource that was offered through the court system.
Exactly. And for those that are working in the anti-trafficking space, whether you're a service provider, legal advocate, or law enforcement, it's important to understand that survivor-led healing and community-based support are not only life-saving, but they're also life-transforming. Resources like Exploited Understanding Domestic Minor Sex Trafficking e-learning course are essential to help people understand the complexities of trafficking and provide appropriate responses.
Absolutely. That's why we're excited to offer these types of educational resources for free, although it was not free for us to make them. But our Exploited e-learning course covers everything from victim and trafficking behavior to online exploitation, and is designed to equip professionals and everyday people with the knowledge they need to be a part of the solution.
And with Shared Hope's roadmap and continued work in the community-based interventions, we're pushing for changes that will impact how survivors, especially youth, are supported from the start. It's not just about getting them out of trafficking, but it's also about creating pathways to healing that don't involve criminalization or re-traumatization. This is where resources really need to go.
Exactly. And let's not forget that each survivor is different. There isn't a one-size-fits-all. That's why a diverse approach is necessary and essential, one that looks at each survivor's individual needs, whether it's housing, therapy, education, or a safe community. This is how we truly move forward, ensuring that every survivor gets care and support they deserve. We have the tools. We just need to continue to ensure that they are being utilized in the right way.
Absolutely. And the future is hopeful. Survivors like Barb, Yvonne, and myself, and many others that are speaking out and leading the charge for change. Our stories, though painful, are a testament to our resilience. And by supporting them, we create a world where no survivor has to walk through their journey alone.
Wow. That is absolutely right. Thank you for joining us today. We hope Barb's story, along with the resources we've shared, inspire others to take action, whether through training, providing support, or advocating for a systematic change. If you're looking for more resources, including Exploited e-learning course or the 2025 Roadmap Report, please visit our website, sharedhope.org, and look in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below. What change will you take part in? Because together we create the kind of support and the system that truly heals.
Thank you for listening to Shared Hope International's Invading the Darkness podcast. You can continue to listen and watch our podcast on all streaming platforms. To learn more about what Shared Hope International is doing and take action to end child sex trafficking, please visit us at sharedhope.org.